It's happening, great people. Annette, I see you in the building. Salute, sis. Said I would do a quick live tonight to see how everybody is doing. See how everybody is doing. You know what I'm saying? A few people asked why I didn't go live. I just been running around, taking care of some business, enjoying family. Got some family down in town down here from out of state. Some family down from Virginia. So I've been doing a lot of good eating, great eating, and everything like that. Been trying to continue to stay sucker free. And just gonna pull out and see how many good people pop up tonight and see how everybody was doing this week. She said I get 10 seconds for being late. God damn, I just got back in the building and I'm getting 10 seconds. These YouTube streets is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Um, hey Seven, how you doing, sis? I've been staying sucker free, staying away from these crazy YouTube. These streets on YouTube is getting crazy, y'all. Hey Queen GG, I see you in the BUILDING. These streets is getting real crazy on YouTube. It's a bunch of foul plays being going on. Dog Soldier, I see you in the building. Yo, dog, the YouTube streets, them getting crazy, man. You getting crazy. Yo, but hey Tanja. But like I said, I pulled up for the good people, for the good energy. Um, like I said, I've been paying attention, a few things here and there on YouTube, but it's getting real crazy. I'm not a part of none of that shit. Big Dice, I already told y'all I'm not with the craziness because it's getting real, real crazy. You know what I'm saying? Niggas got guest appearances and all that shit and pulling up on YouTube. But then again, the same trolls is being trolls. The same trolls is being trolls. I be around, Tanya. I just be paying attention. I made sure I had to get myself 100% back. I ain't on, I'm 100% back, feeling good, feeling like I'm about 19 years old. Yeah, about 19 plus. Okay, 19 plus 6. Give me 25. I feel like about 25. But I said a lot of the things on YouTube. I told y'all. I'm telling y'all. I think I could be a prophet sometime. Shout out to TT the Oracle. I think TT starting to rub up off me because I'm starting to see things more and more crystal clear. But these YouTube streets is getting crazy. You know what I'm saying? But my name is Paul. That's between y'all. My name is Bennett. I ain't in it. But there are some crazy things going on YouTube, playing with people's children and stuff like that. And certain people are getting exposed for the foolishness that they partake in. But me personally, believe it or not, I wish the best to everybody. Now, seriously, I wish, like, certain things, y'all. I joke, I play. Don't get it twisted. I joke, I play. I may rank and all that. Nah, certain stuff your boy is just not gonna never be a part of because it's not me. It's not me. And I noticed something though. You want to hear something funny? Yo, you want to hear something funny? I've been paying attention to what God been telling me, and it's like God been telling me just to sit back, don't feed into nothing, pay attention, and let Him work. And ever since I took that into my initiative, like I said, still in the troll free zone. I'm not even acknowledging no trolls, whether they was here or not before, whether because I noticed there's a lot of people that are trolls. Most hated. I see you in the building. Salute, beloved. I'm gonna do what God told me to do and sit back and allow people to be who they are. Now, the great part about it is, I'm trying to tell people, leave Big Dice alone, y'all, because my God has a protection over me that's crazy, and I'm noticing it. See, I noticed something when people tried to, you know, the crazy part. I'd rather somebody just be like, "Yo, Dice, check this out. I like your style. I like what you and Team Guardian got going on. Show me the blueprint. Could I fuck with y'all? I would like to be on your stage. I would like to have a great conversation with you because y'all be having some great dialogue over there. Um, the respect for everybody in the chat. I'm gonna always continue to praise y'all for that. Even though, unfortunately, we got some people. We got some people that's just gonna come through and well, it's close to Halloween. Y'all know it's close to Halloween. So being close to Halloween, Sir Valentino, I see you in the building, beloved. Salute. Being so close to Halloween, it's people that want to be Superman. the Incredible Hulk, Wonder Woman, Thing, you know what I'm saying, and et cetera, et cetera. So you got to pay attention to everything you seeing, because see, God told me some deep shit. Like, it's like I heard him say, "Yo, let them people do what they got to do, and I'm gonna give them a reason why they'll never worry about you again." See, and I didn't pay attention to it because the Brooklyn in me, fuck that, I'm gonna nah. God said, "Yo, listen to what I've been asking you to do, and everything, all the attention that people want, I'm gonna give them the attention that they desire." Because there's some things that's being said on YouTube now about people. I heard some crazy stuff before, but the stuff that's going on now is ridiculous. And I said, shout out to some of the females. I'm never gonna call y'all women. Never gonna call y'all women. Shout out to some of the females that once were here, um, and now they're on their how can I say, they they expeditions to be YouTube content creators. I still wish y'all all the best, because if I said I fuck with you, I fuck with you. Even if I don't fuck with you, I still wish the best to anybody, because I noticed this whole YouTube thing can be very, very dangerous. What I mean by dangerous is um there's a lot of lonely people in this world, y'all. There's a lot of lonely people in this world. There's a lot of women, excuse me, there's a lot of females on this app that don't have nobody in real life that's interested in them. There's a lot of men on this, no, excuse me, little boys on this app that in real life don't have nobody interested in them. So this is their outlet. This is where they get to be whomever they want to be. And you know what? Who the fuck am I? Who am I to say, quote unquote, they can't do that? Because if people are paying for their own podcasts and people are paying for their own streams, they had a right to do whatever they want to talk about. They could talk about frogs fighting goldfish. They could talk about panties. They can talk about Kool-Aid. They could talk about Hawaiian Punch. It's not my place. All I know is I'm gonna keep trying to give this great content, because I've been thinking about some things, and I said I wanted to talk about this because Puff. I've been. How can I say this? I've been kind of complex in the thoughts, because as y'all know, October the 3rd, Puff got his new fate pertaining to um his jail time, and they said that they're gonna give him 5 years. They're gonna give him 5 years. So that means he already got a year served. So 4 years, and then out of the 4 years, he should be home. So if Puff does another 20, maybe 2.5 months, maybe another 23 months, 2.5 years, he should be home. But you know what? Now that I've been thinking about it, first I was one of the firm believers that said, if Puff wasn't convicted for the major crimes that he was accused of, I said that a year that he's been arrested, he should have been set free. And I spoke too quickly. See, I went back and did some investigation. There's so many things that were happening in that trial that a lot of us don't know about. Now, that situation with Cassie is really, really, you know what I'm saying, the nail in the coffin. Like, yeah, I've always heard about the toxic relationship. I've always heard they had ups and downs, but I've always seen them reappear in the spotlight like everything was okay. But when it came to that video, and that young lady um was trying to leave that hotel, and to see Puff, because this ain't no alleged, we've all seen the video, to see Puff running down the hallway in a towel and punching her and stomping her and dragging her back to the hotel room, it just was a little graphic to me. You know what I'm saying? Annette said, what's crazy is, Dice, R. Kelly had the same charges, and look how they hung R. Kelly. And that's real. That's real. That's real. But see, I think the reason why R. Kelly was railroaded the way he was railroaded, because of his lack of intelligence and his lack of comprehension. because he always said that he wasn't really literate when it came to comprehension. He could read certain things, but he wasn't really comprehensive to everything that he was reading and everything he was signing. So R. Kelly, that situation is dangerous too. That situation is dangerous too because okay, cool. For years he's had women under the age of 21 that actually was on tour with him, that actually lived with him, that had this monogamous relationship. And when it became time for these females to be deemed as adults, like 21 years old, and it came to the fact that R. Kelly no longer had to give allowances to the parents of these young ladies, that's when I noticed the whole theatrics of the parents doing press conferences and going on news stations and saying, yo, my daughters is being sabotaged and brainwashed. See, my thing is the reason why I feel as though R. Kelly was bamboozled and set up is because where was all that energy prior to them becoming 21 years old? I mean, like, why wouldn't you have that energy if your children was 16, 17, and 18? But it seems like once they became 21 years old and there was no more obligation to the parents as far as them being teenagers and children in the eyes of the law, it seemed like everybody just had their whole plan to just disgrace R. Kelly. Do I think he's wrong? Yes. The reason why I think R. Kelly is wrong is because he knowingly came out. He knowingly came out saying that when he was younger, he was sexually assaulted. He was sexually molested by, if I'm not mistaken, it was the babysitter that was close to the family. So the reason why I'm going to say that he is wrong, if he feel as though he was mistreated when he was a child, and then to turn around and do certain things that he allegedly was convicted of as an adult with children, it doesn't really make sense. I think them type of people should see people. Some people belong in jail, and some people belong in a psychiatrist. Some people belong in a mental institution. And now R. Kelly, 30 years in jail. Whew, whew. Do I believe that was a little over strenuous? Yes. Yes, I do believe that was over strenuous. But I'm going to also say, too, people aren't really thinking really on how deep that case goes. Them still with children. You still, you know what I'm saying? I think that they was after R. Kelly, honestly, from 98, from 1998, when I remember the first tape came out with him because I purchased the tape. The tape was $40. I was living in Starlight City in East New York. I'll never forget this. The tape was right around the corner in the barbershop. There was VHSs, and they were segments of him in particular with different women. Now, the women that he was in, Big Drip, I see you in the building, salute. The women that he was in the video with, all of the women were adults, especially the first woman, the Spanish Hispanic lady, which is now baseball legend Anthony Hernandez's wife from the New York Yankees. Now, the first seat, that's why I guess they pulled everybody into the whole suspense of seeing the video, because the first the first four women that were on that tape with R. Kelly were adults. But when it got to that little girl, if I'm not mistaken, it was Sparkle's niece, because they said Sparkle was a part of this whole plan that set him up. When it came to Sparkle's niece, I watched the video. Um, did he urinate on that young lady? Yes, he did. Was that him in the video crystal clear without any um um doubt in my mind? Yes, it was. And then there was a part in the video when somebody called him and said, "Yo, Kells," and he said, "Huh?" and turned around. So all that, they're not gonna never tell me that that wasn't R. Kelly, but that was a child. Now, this may sound crazy. The young girl, the last scene of the young girl, it seemed like she was more sexually, she was more sexually aggressive. You understand what I'm saying to you? It seemed like that her history with sexual encounters may have been way before R. Kelly, because if anybody in here saw that video, she was not shy, she was not bashful, and she seemed to move as an adult, but she still was a child. But the reason why I feel as though that was wrong, because the magic word is she was a child. That's a fact. And that's said because they wasn't getting no more money. That's a fact because, you know what I'm saying, she was a child. Yo, Red, I see you in the building. Where you been, beloved? He said, I seen it. Where you been, beloved? So when it comes to that whole scenario, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that something shouldn't have been done, because he did commit a crime. But I believe it should have been more focused on rehabilitation in a mental facility because of past dramas and things that have done to him. Now, when we switch back over to Puff, when we switch back over to Puff, see, I forgot about all the other things that came out. See, I went and went over some of the briefings pertaining to Puff case. There was a young man, there was a young man that came forward, and if I'm not mistaken, it was Miami, Florida. It was a Caucasian man. He was balding. He was kind of a muscular man, and he had came forth and said, way before these allegations came out about Puff, he said, "Yo, um, I'm in fear for my life." And the police officers was talking to him, saying, "What are you in fear for your life for?" And he was saying, "I'm in fear for my life because I am a." He said, "I was a." He said that he was a personal slave, a personal sex slave for P. Diddy. So when he first said he was a personal sex slave for P. Diddy, you know, everybody looked at him like he was crazy. Everybody was like, "What do you?" I mean, the sheriffs and everybody was talking to him was like, "What are you talking about?" And then the things that he was saying were overlooked because they said he was under the influence of alcohol, and they said apparently it was visibly seen that he had been under the influence of drugs. But people didn't pay attention to the things that he was saying. People did not pay attention to the things he was saying. The man said Puff Daddy was part of this thing called a boule. A boule. That was the first time I've ever heard that word, and I've never knew what the boule meant until the sheriff asked him. He said, "What does that mean?" He said, "Well, a boule is a group of very, very powerful men that can make anything happen, can make anybody disappear." That's what he said. He said the boule was just a group of powerful men that did indecencies way more than sex to everyone. And he said that Puff gave him herpes. This is a fact. The man said Puff gave him herpes, and he said that Puff was looking to try to hurt him or unalive him because he knew too much. Now, the crazy part about it is this man had said so many names. I mean, he had exact detail, he had precise timing, and he had the names of very important people that we didn't know about. But check this out, all the people that this young man spoke to the authorities about were now pulled into this case pertaining to P. Diddy. So that was something that made people go, "What the fuck?" Yo, Chief, I see you in the building. Salute. So when I think about the fact that Puff used his power and his influence to sexually assault men. It was one dude that was saying that he was so afraid of Puff. He said Puff used to get off by choking him. And he said Puff choked him so bad one night that he thought he was going to lose his life. See, when you got to take stuff like that into accountability, like, I'm not knocking nobody if they want to be a freak. If you're a freak, you're a freak. I respect that. But see, if you're a freak, you need to get adult participants. Pay attention to the magic words. You need to get adult participants that are also freaks, that also want to be involved with certain things. You know what I'm saying? The little sex escapades, the parties, you know, the baby oil, all that type of things. But to have somebody drugged or to purposely secretly record certain interactions between people, and then the next morning, like they said, people are waking up from these drugs saying, "Yo, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to me last night." And then you got Puff showing these videos going, "Yo, this is what happened to you." And if you say anything about what My fault, y'all. Like I said, when you got people that are purposely, you know what I'm saying, threatening people's lifestyle and threatening people's reputation because of your own sadistic plots in your head, that's wrong, y'all. That's wrong. And on top of the situation with Cassie, like Annette was saying earlier, it's not about Cassie. See, I think this is the higher ups that are just, you know what I'm saying, punishing or spanking one of their own. See, one thing Puff is always going to go down in the books as is one of the greatest in the world because he took it to trial with the feds and he didn't implicate or didn't involve anyone else. It was so many people, like they said, because remember, when he did the list, I did the show on this. Remember, he did a list about a lot of the participants that used to be into these freak offs and these escapades. People on the list was Diana Ross' daughter, um, Drake, Naomi Campbell, Oprah Winfrey, Mark Wahlberg, the Obamas, the whole Shaquille family, the whole O'Neal. So that means Shaq, his wife, his kids. If you notice, there's pictures with him and Donald Trump, and there's pictures in him with Prince Charles' sons at his parties and his freak off. So this was my thing. When Puff first was under investigation and they raided all his both of his houses or whatever like that. This is my first thing. I felt as though, just my opinion only, y'all, that the higher ups were upset about certain valuable information that Puff may have had on them. So I felt as though when they rushed them houses, the way they rushed them houses so abruptly both times simultaneously, I felt as though that they was rushing them houses for files. I just my opinion. I felt as though that they was rushing them houses for personal files, photos, videos. You know what I'm saying? Anything discriminating pertaining to older celebrities or people that have been in this game for a long time. Like they say, that whole cast of Illuminati members. Like it was certain things that I think that they was in fear of Puff doing. So now I think when Puff tried to step out of his line and he took that liquor company to court and tried to sue them, I just feel as though they just, you know what I'm saying, they just spanking Puff right now. I just felt as though it was like, well, you know what? Um, your lifestyle and certain things that you've been a part of, because if you pay attention, Puff has been literally non-stoppable from the situation with Jennifer Lopez, Shine, when that whole situation happened with Drac and them. You know what I'm saying? That Christmas Eve in New York City, if you know, you know. So make a long story short, when it came to him fleeing the scene and making, you know what I'm saying, his presence known with his power, because when Shine and Puff got arrested and then Puff made the initiative to give Shine his own lawyer and then he hired his own defense team, I said, this nigga right here is grimy. You know, see, to me, I'm saying that's grimy. But see, to him and the other people, that was a strategic move because he decided to separate himself away from the actual person that was caught on camera shooting, even though allegedly, from what I was told, because one of my friends by the name of Julius from Aubrey Projects, they call him Box, he was actually at that show that night. And he was one of the ones that got shot. And then shout out to my man Barry and his wife Vanita. You know what I'm saying? She had a beauty salon on Nostrand Avenue, and she was the young lady that was at that show that night that I did a show about that was actually shot in her face. You understand? So they made it seem like it was just Shine that was doing the shooting, but I have people that have literally said out their mouth, nah, Dice Puff was busting his gun that night too. So when he got away from all of that, in my opinion, I felt as though that the higher ups told him, yo, check this out. We need you to calm down. Because remember, he was just on top of the world with the Sean John clothing line, and then he just opened the Sean John restaurant, et cetera, et cetera. I felt as though they kind of like tried to show him, yo, we're gonna support you and we're gonna get you through certain things, but we need you to slow down, Puff. Like we really, really need you to slow the fuck down because you're bringing too much attention to yourself. And when you bring attention to Puff, you also bring an attention to the people that are backing him, like his business partners and the silent business partners. You know what I'm saying? So now that I think about this, Is 5 years long enough for Puff? No, I think not. I think not. See, does he need mental help? Yes, he does. Because of like they said, things of his childhood past. Shout out to the legend and the fashion extraordinaire Dapper Dan. He said out of his mouth, and you can pull it up on YouTube. Dapper Dan said it was only inevitable that certain things would happen pertaining to Puff. He said because when he was younger, he said he used to party with Puff Daddy's mother, Puff Daddy's father. He said Puff Daddy's parents were known for having the parties in their houses that were a little, might have been a little bit too exposing to children. You dig what I'm saying? As far as they said the homosexual lifestyle, um, the swingers lifestyle, drugs, gambling, and violence. Because unfortunately, Puff Daddy's father was unalived, allegedly by friends of himself, like Puff father that he was dudes he was hustling with and he was getting money with, allegedly were responsible for his life because of the allegations pertaining to Puff Daddy's father being a rat and cooperating with the police. So from being a child, I do believe, in my opinion, he's had some things happen to him. He's had some trauma in his life. Like with one of the documentaries, one of his best friends said, well, his friend said when he went to college, he knew him as Sean. He said, but no, excuse me, before he went to the army, he knew Puff as Sean. He said, but when he came back from the army, he said, of course, Puff gave him a job. He said, but the new character was Puff Daddy, was P. Diddy. And he said that was a side that he had never seen. You understand what I'm saying to you? So I noticed there's a lot of women that was screaming free Puff and, that's messed up what they did to him and they was only doing it because he was black. No, 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 no. See, to the women that feel like that, I pray for them women. Matter of fact, females, them not women. I pray for them females. The reason why I pray for them females is because anything that was done to the other young ladies that Puff was accused of abusing or sexually assaulting or physically abusing, if as a woman you are okay with a man verbally, physically, or sexually abusing another woman, that's kind of dangerous. That's to me, that's just kind of dangerous because that could have been to the women that was supportive of Puff, that could have been you. You know what I'm saying? That could have been your daughter. That could have been your sister. That could have been your aunt. Hell, it could have been your mother. So do I think the 5 years was appropriate? No. I think me personally, if it was up to me, I'd have gave him a dime. I'd have gave him 10 years. Yes, I'd have gave him 10 years, and I'd have gave him 10 years with stipulation where he would have had to have a bunch of mental counseling while he was incarcerated. You understand what I'm saying to you? He would have to prove to me that he changed. Then I would also have him in an intensive drug therapy counseling class too, because people fail to realize, man, Puff was really, really living that rock style life. He had his own Ciroc company, he had his own cognac, he had his own alcohol, and then you notice the pink cocaine that the young boy from Syracuse that he was using to bring back and forth from New Mexico. You notice the pink cocaine that the young boy was transporting. That was a very, very powerful concoction. You dig what I'm saying? And I knew Puff was going to jail because when they caught that boy on the plane with that work, and they said that he was, what I'm saying, an ex-basketball player from Syracuse, and his family was behind him, and he comes from the rich family and all that. I knew personally he was done. I knew. I said, Puff, they're gonna fry Puff. You know what I'm saying? And as posed as the other witnesses that gave their testimonies, like the young lady from Danity K. I can't remember her name. The white woman, the Caucasian lady from Danity K. She's still terrified of Puff to this very second. And I remember when they interviewed her. And I just paid attention to her mannerism, and I paid attention to her eyes. And the young lady was sitting there terrified, shaking. And she was like, if Puff gets out of jail, I'm afraid that he may try to hurt me. Now, see, when I seen the videos of Puff having his outrageous temper tantrums and screaming and slamming things on the cable and throwing glasses and dishes at the doors and being very, very aggressive. This let me know that the calm, cool, and charismatic individual that he appeared to be on the runway or when was in the spotlight was all an act. So if he was acting like that, who was he really in real life? Word up, like who is he really in real life? And that said, you think he was cocky? Wait until he gets out. See, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing, Annette. You're 100% right. See, that's what I was thinking about. If he only has 5 years and he already has a year in, so what? He gonna give him 2.5 more years. So say he did 3.5 years, and he beat all these charges that was trying to put him away for the rest of his life, or give him 30 and 40 years, just like they did to R. Kelly. The arrogance the arrogance that I feel as though that he would possess now is going to be more dangerous than he went to jail. You see, the only thing I want to talk about is, but they didn't bring it up, is the allegations about him killing his ex-wife, Kim Porter. The thing that I'm not going to never forget is how Albie Shore wrote a book. And I'm not going to forget how Albie Shore was in a coma for almost a year. And I'm not going to forget how Albie Shore had to go through rehabilitation to walk and talk again. And I'm also not going to forget how adamant Albie Shore was, saying that Puff Daddy was actually trying to unalive him because of his bond and his relationship with Kim Porter. And to me, I'm never going to forget that interview, especially when Albie Shore was talking. And then Kim Porter had a book that was supposedly coming out, a tell-all book that was supposedly coming out. And it's like, what happened to that book? Albie Shore says there was things that he had told her, and it was things that she was going to expose in that book, because Albie Shore said she was just to the fact where she was ready to leave Puff. Now I think about Kimora Lee Simmons. And I think about the impact that she has had on me with her testimonies pertaining to Puff Daddy and her ex-husband, Mr. Russell Simmons. Okay, now I'm going to put it into this perspective. Russell Simmons was 34 years old and she was 16 years old. I'm going to say this again. He was 34 and she was 16. Think about that. She was 16 and he was 34 years old. And then he winds up marrying her, and then he winds up having children with her. See, to me, y'all, death to all pedophiles. Forgive me, I'm just going to say it how I feel it. Death to all pedophiles, because karma is a motherfucker. Now, you 34 years old, dating a 16-year-old girl that's a model, and then you have all this money. You're a top rap mogul. You got millions and millions of dollars, and then you groom her, and then you bribe her with things such as a fashion label, clothing line with the Fat Farm jeans. You dig what I'm saying? Excuse me, with the baby fat jeans. You dig what I'm saying? And he gave her whole exclusive design. And she, of course, now that's very, very easy for a young girl to be manipulated like that, especially if her parents, like, I'll be wanting to know where these people parents at. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like where was her parents at when she was 16 years old and a 34-year-old man was trying to be with her? Like, where are the parents? So now, look how God works. Look how God works. Now, Russell Simmons' daughter is dating a millionaire in his 70s. And she's not even 23 years old. Now, see, and you see how God works? So when it comes to Puff Daddy, I don't trust him. And I think that he should be treated and dealt with the same way that Russell Simmons, the Def Jam mogul, and Tom Hanks. I feel as though that Puff should be treated the same way that they have been treated. See, a lot of people don't know. Russell Simmons sold all Def Jams, all of his property, all of his assets, and then he went to a country. I can't remember the name of the country, but check this out. Tom Hanks also lives in this country. See, these people were told that they can no longer live in the United States. If they do live in the United States, certain sexual charges will be brought against them. That's why we think Russell Simmons just picked up and left the country because he didn't want to be in New York no more. Nah, the nigga loved White Castles too much. If you watch Run's House, that nigga Russell Simmons' whole family, all of them love White Castles too much. But what he said is he will sell all his stuff and leave the country. And the only time he's allowed to come back and forth to the country is on passes and vouchers pertaining to diplomatic immunity. See, the diplomatic immunity, this is what people fail to realize about diplomatic immunity. This shit is a very, very powerful thing. Tom Hanks, the same person, the same thing he got in common with Russell Simmons is young boys. You can look this up if you think I'm joking. Tom Hanks, yeah, Forrest Gump, the one that seemed to be the most profound actor ever. Yeah, that nigga was ran out of the United States of America too because of all the charges that was being brought up against him when it came to grooming little boys. But the country that they live in now, that's normal. That's normal to fuck with kids, particularly men liking young boys. I can't remember the name of it. If y'all think I'm joking, you can look this up when you get off this live, or you can go up on the computer and look it up right now. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a word that they got now where they're trying to make it legal. They're trying to make it legal, y'all, for men to be grooming little boys. They're actually trying to pass laws right now for men to be able to groom little boys. So, like I said, when it comes to this new day and age, I mean, I tell people this, they think I'm joking, but I mean this wholeheartedly. I wish sometimes I could have came up in the era like Little House on the Prairie. You know what I'm saying? Like back in that time where people had horses, you know what I'm saying, and carriages. You dig what I'm saying? Where people was not so close up on each other, and back then you knew if somebody really cared about you because they took some time to travel and come see you. You know, where men and women, they really treated each other as like units. Like, you dig what I'm saying? Like everybody was going out in the yard and planting seeds. Everybody was going out in the yard and cleaning the horses and cleaning the cows and cleaning the chickens and et cetera, et cetera. And where you had to grow your food to eat. You understand what I'm saying to you? Where you had to learn a trade and you had to know something about carpentry because you might have to build on your own house, or you might have to build an addition into your house. See, when it was no electricity, I know this shit may sound crazy, when it was just straight up candles and lights and stuff like that. Because that to me, that whole aspect of life, it just seemed like it was a better unity. You dig what I'm saying? Like that's a fact. That's a fact. Diplomatic immunity, that mean they can murder someone here and they can't do nothing about it. See, this is the dangerous part about diplomatic immunity. This is the part about diplomatic immunity that people don't know. These people that have all these outlandish charges, or these people that have all these outlandish backgrounds with this bullshit, pedophilia and stuff like that. You notice these are the richest people in the world. You know, them weirdos is them niggas with all that money. But see, because of the government and because they don't care nothing about money, you know what I'm saying? They say, you know what? As long as you're paying a certain amount of money every year, as long as you contributing to these private affairs, as long as you contributing to these great parties, as long as when we need certain things, you are going to be there for us. They're going to let them live how they want to live, but they know they can't live in the United States of America. And that shit is sad, y'all. So to the females, because I'm not gonna call you women, to the females that was upset because Puff got 5 years. I'm gonna do some soul. I mean, y'all need to do some soul searching, and I'm gonna pray for y'all because Puff is a monster. Puff is really, really a monster. He has his children. To me, this is just my opinion. He has his children brainwashed. He has his children brainwashed because of that money. I know this shit may sound fucked up what I'm saying, but I'm just gonna give it to you how I see it. You notice some people don't care about what other people going through as long as they not going through nothing. So it's like, long as they're not getting sexually assaulted, or as long as they don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, or long as they don't have to worry about where their next income or their finances are coming from, they're happy with everything. Yo, China, I see you in the building. Salute, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of China, yo, China, you's a funny motherfucker. Yo, China. Oh my God. Speaking of China, he in the building. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to what's been going on. But shout out to my homie Bad Vibes. You dig what I'm saying? And shout out to the big OG homie, man, dude. They is on Jim Jones' body. They is really on Jim Jones' body. They are really on Jim Jones' body. And you know what? I remember, I don't know if y'all caught the show when Vibes pulled up on my show the other day. I gotta give him his props. The nigga Vibes, I really, really gotta respect the person that he is because, like he said, shout out to Hocus 4/5. I make sure I'm saying his name right. Shout out to Hocus 4/5 for the whole drop your flag movement. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, tell you the truth, I think that's one of the most powerful, you know what I'm saying, movements in a long time. China was trying to do it too. China has been purposely exposing certain people, you know what I'm saying, gang members, blood, crip, he don't care who it is. He's been purposely exposing certain people that people have put on these high pedestals, but they didn't carry the weight like they were supposed to be put on. You dig what I'm saying? So I guess when China was doing it, because he'd be joking, you know what I'm saying, but he'd be dead serious. People didn't really pay attention and take heed to what he was saying, but I did. Like I always told people, I said there's certain things that China has done content on and certain things that China has brought to light can be dangerous. It can be dangerous to his freedom, because if somebody try to do something to him, I know how he goes. It could be dangerous when it comes to his health, because people would try to get at him. But when you tell yourself you don't care about that, and you really, really got a cause and a movement in your heart, especially to save these kids out here that's running around destroying each other and just ending up in jail for the rest of their life or ending up in a graveyard for the rest of their life. I take my hat off to all you guys. Like China been doing it. Shout out to Bad Vibes. Shout out to Man doing. Shout out to Hocus 4/5 for actually pulling that together. Because these kids, let me explain something to you. What I'm noticing is these kids today, they are so easy to be influenced, and they're so easy to be manipulated. See, this is what people fail to realize. The children that are really, really like the young adults today, from like they 20s and 27 and 28 and 30, you got to pay attention to this. This is the product of the crack environment. This is seriously the product. People didn't really see, you got to really think about, see, I lived through this shit, so I understand it a little differently. You got to pay attention. When crack hit my neighborhood, like 82, 83, you know what I'm saying, and then really started like taking over my neighborhood, and you seen certain people, families and lives getting destroyed because of crack, like 86, 87, 88. You dig what I'm saying? You got to understand, there were people still having children. There was people still conceiving children. So it's like when the kids, people fail to realize that the kids, a lot of the children that were conceived during the crack epidemic, they weren't with their parents. They were with grandmothers. They was with Big Mama. See, Big Mama, see, that's, shout out to all the official grandmothers back in the days. You dig what I'm saying? I'm talking about the official grandmothers that said, I'm not gonna let the fact that my daughter or my son may be addicted to crack, I'm not going to let the system come in and take my baby away. Shout out to all the grandmothers that may not have been physically or mentally ready to take that obligation on of raising their children's children, but because of the whole fact of keeping kids in the house. Yo, man, I see you in the building. Salute you, Bill. Salute you. I shout out to all them grandmothers. But see, this is the part that we fail to realize that we don't pay attention to. Them children, a lot of them was taken away from their parents. A lot of them was put into the system. But pay attention, they were also growing inside of the womb of their mothers. You understand what I'm saying? They was also growing inside of the genes of their fathers pertaining to crack. So they were literally born addicted to crack cocaine. But see, this is the crazy part about it. You gotta pay attention to how wicked this shit is. They were born addicted to something that they didn't even know they were addicted to. You understand what I'm saying to you? So when you got these kids that, fortunately, they're not on crack, but they're coming up 1 years old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, et cetera, et cetera. See, they are yearning for something. That's why a lot of these kids have been acting out. A lot of them kids have been like, they call them they say they have problems in school. They say they have ADHD, or they say they want to put them on medicine because they're hyperactive. The reason why they're hyperactive and the reason why they have short attention spans is because when they were being grown in the wombs of their mothers, they weren't being prepared. They weren't nourished the right way. They wasn't like you know like when somebody is pregnant, they tell you, yo, stay on your food, stay on your fruits. You know what I'm saying? Watch what you eat, watch your carbs. You know, make sure you what you ingest goes into that child. So when you got kids, you got parents that's running around, unfortunately, addicted to something that they couldn't get away from. You dig what I'm saying? Because, like I said, my pops smoked crack. That shit took my pops out of here. You know what I'm saying? That shit took one of my favorite superheroes out of here because it just seemed like the government just put something in the hood for nothing because people don't get on drugs because they're trying to get high. People don't really want to deal with it. People be getting on drugs because they be trying to escape certain realities. You understand what I'm saying to you? It's not about motherfuckers just say, well, you know what? I want to be on crack every day, or I want to be on heroin every day, or, you know what I'm saying? Even down to marijuana, even down to alcohol. People not doing these things because they trying to just be high. They doing this shit because they trying to escape reality. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I got a lot of friends and family members that unfortunately, my age, younger and older, that fell victim to the addictions and the plots that they dropped in the hood. Like that shit, when they dropped that crack shit off, y'all, whew, yo, listen to me. I watched that shit take a lot of dignity from great people, men and women. I watched friends, mothers that had great jobs and went to work, and I watched that shit just overpower them to the fact where they say, you know what, I'm not going to work. I'm not gonna get no job. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get in these streets and do whatever I gotta do. You know, some of our parents was stealing, some of our parents was prostituting, some of our parents was putting themselves in the most dangerous predicaments just to obtain something that would get them away from their reality for a minute or two. You dig what I'm saying? The government knew what they was doing with that shit, my nigga. So when they got these kids, especially this whole drill epidemic, like this whole like that shit is dangerous. Like that shit is very if you pay attention, a lot of these kids, they're not, they're not, they're not, they're not able to deal with reality. And that's the only way I can say it. Like a lot of these kids is upset because they grew up without their mother, or they grew up without their father, or they grew up with their grandmother. And the sad part about it is grandparents did not have the capability to watch us when we was in our teenage years, 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 and 16. A lot of grandparents, if you know, they would sleep by 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know nothing about, well, you know, we better make sure that kid is asleep, or we better make sure these doors is locked in the back because these children were bored. These children is bored. Like I see these little kids running around here today with these guns and shooting each other and killing each other like with lifeless, with no remorse. It's like, yo, like I thought we had serial killers when I was coming up. Now they have bred stone cold murderers, not people that back in the days might have been pushed to certain situations and they caught a body, or not people that was handling their business and holding something down and they more. No, I'm talking about little dudes that's jumping up saying, yo, you know what? Let's go smoke this nigga. Let's go kill this nigga. And you know what I'm saying? And now the highest degree of disrespect is when they made this whole comment about, well, you know what? Now we smoking on my dead op. What? Like, let me tell you something, y'all. This world, I know people don't want to agree with this shit, but this world is getting more and more evil as the days go by. And I used to think it was just like YouTube. I said, yo, this dirty sector shit, and these niggas is crazy. No, 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 no. See, this. First of all, what you put in, what you do on any platform is really a reflection of your parents, reflection of who you are as a person. reflection of some of the hardships you may have been through. But some of the stuff that I see on YouTube, that shit is to me, it's just sickening. It's mind blowing. It's like mind blowing. That's the only description I can give to it. It's just actually mind blowing. But that's because this world is getting, you know what I'm saying? The world is it got a high volume of acceptance to a lot of bullshit. Like a lot of bullshit is being accepted. Just like the shit with Puff. Niggas is cool now with niggas beating on chicks. When we came up back in the days, don't get it twisted. They were people that had their situations. They were families that fought. There was people that, you know what I'm saying? First of all, my mother used to swing on my father. Let's get that straight. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not always one-sided. Like people say, oh, this man is beating on this woman. Or no, while I was coming up, a lot of the women, they were very dangerous, especially when it came to alcohol. Especially when it came to alcohol. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, it's just cool. Niggas is trying to put up a short one time of a young lady, and they beat her so bad. Little Maine, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, bro, for pulling up and holding down like you've always done. Appreciate that. He did a short one time of a young lady that was beat so bad, y'all. That was beat so bad. I'm talking about her eyes were swollen, her face was swollen. And she was on YouTube. I mean, she was on Instagram saying, "Don't worry about it. Yo, that's messed up." And you dig what I'm saying? And then I seen one time when China put one up, if I'm not mistaken, it was pertaining to the Crips with Big U. It was another young lady that they had beat so bad. I'm talking about just disfigured this woman. And it's like I'm seeing more and more on Instagram, more and more on YouTube. This one is beating this woman up or beating this woman up. Yo, like I said, they're females and they're women. And a lot of us need to pay attention that a lot of these women, a lot of these females that we're giving the props to being women aren't women. See, women, they know they know how to move a certain way if I'm making sense or not. Like certain women, that don't mean that they soft because they know how to humble themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like people just humble themselves. People don't humble themselves no more. People don't have conversations no more. It's like everybody just want to go to get a gun, or everybody just want to go to fight, or everybody just want to be aggressive with each other. And I noticed that shit is happening on YouTube also. It's like, but the sad part about it is on YouTube, it's people joking. It's people saying, you know what? I could say what I want to say to somebody. I could do what I want to do to somebody on YouTube because you know what? I'm never going to see them in real life. But see, let me tell you something. God got a funny way of making you eat your words. A lot of these people never know if you're going to bump into somebody on this app that you have maybe disrespected. A lot of these people don't know. A lot of these people behind these avatars, you don't know what they look like. You don't know where they're located. It's not like they're saying, yo, I'm located here. And if a person can say, yo, I'm located, like for instance, a person can say, yo, I'm checking in from Cali. We don't really know that person is checking in from Cali. That motherfucker could be checking in from downtown Brooklyn. You see what the net said? It's a small world, y'all. You will never know who somebody know or who gonna bump into you or who gonna jump out. Yo, it's people, y'all wouldn't believe it. I ain't gonna get into the shit, but it's people that be really ready to jump off the bridge for certain people. Me, one of them. I have friends that their level of ignorance is higher than the sky because they know who I am as a person. So when they see certain things or they hear certain things, I be the one going, yo, leave that shit alone. That shit ain't about nothing. Like I got female friends, I got cousins and all that be really wanting to get a hold of chicks. And I'll be like, yo, leave that shit alone because it's not worth it. Word up. My man said, that one post in a lady's eyes disfigured need to meet a true northern hick. He said, we for any lady getting a man's weakness acting tough. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. And that said, just please to choose to remain humble. And that's what I choose to do because I noticed it's just to some people, it's just a joke. You know what I'm saying? To some people, they don't know what it is. Like I said, to unfortunately have to bury somebody that was unalived in the street. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like some people, It's some people that never had to bury nobody. You know, a lot of people had to go to funerals because people naturally lost their lives. But it's some people that have been taken away from here. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people ain't never, it's like, especially on, I could tell on YouTube, it's not too many people that really been to a bunch of funerals or really seen one of their friends laying in a casket or one of their homegirls. You know what I'm saying? I had an ex-girlfriend in 1991, rest in peace. Her name was Kimberly Christine Watson from Jackie Robinson Project. When my homegirl Meek coming in, she always talks about, I had an ex-girl that died on me, like, you know, aneurysm of the brain type shit. Like people don't understand the impact. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my sister Annette. I saw it today because my Wi-Fi was down. I finally got it up. Like I watch. Unfortunately, she lost her husband, and it's people that really miss people. You know what I'm saying? That they carry an anger over loved ones that are no longer here, and people don't know you can say something that can trigger that person to do something to you or themselves. People don't understand that shit. People ain't never really been in those situations where they really lost their loved ones. I could tell that on YouTube because everything is a joke. Like when we was coming up, when niggas was shooting at each other, that literally meant niggas had guns in their hands trying to unalive each other. But on YouTube, shooting at each other is just, you know what? I'm gonna talk about him, or I'm gonna talk about her, or I'm gonna disrespect him, or I'm gonna disrespect her, or she's gonna disrespect me, and he's gonna disrespect her, and then. But you know what? The minute we get off, the minute we end the live, it's nothing because we was just joking. No, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that. My man Maine said, "Yo, Dice." He said, "I'm a humble till I see wrong. No matter what." He said, "My ass gonna get whooped or not, but ain't no man going to put hands on no female in front of me." That's a fact. Because you see, the era we came from. See, this is and something Maine just said was very, very true. Very, very true. When we was coming up, we seen dudes arguing with their baby mothers. We seen dudes arguing with their girlfriends, and we seen situations with girlfriends and dudes started fighting in the street. But like Maine said, it was always a group of us or other individuals that got between that shit and say, "Yo, take that shit in the house." Word up. And that said, that's true. That's why I stay in the motherfucking cut, y'all. She said, that's why I stay in the cut because my anger is different. People don't really understand what it is to really lose nobody. They just be fronting because if they did, they would be more mindful of things they said and they would be more mindful of people's feelings. And I know sometimes I could even be, you know what I'm saying, aggressive after something may have upset me or made me feel a certain way. But you know what? I've been checking myself. I've been checking myself and I just been sitting back, paying attention and watching people's lives and paying attention to stuff that's going on. I can't feed into certain shit, y'all. Like certain shit is just people crying out for help. That's all. People just crying out for motherfucking help. And they don't know how to say, yo, I'm hurting. They don't know how to say, yo, I'm angry. You know what I'm saying? People just are rather, yo, you know what I heard? Everybody want to die. Everybody want to go to heaven, but they're scared to die. And then some people want to die, but they're afraid to kill themselves. So they will say something or they will do something to put themselves in a predicament where somebody may try to unalive them. If that make any sense, because there's some weirdos in this world, y'all. It's some real weirdos in this world. You dig what I'm saying? But for me, I made a promise to God. God told me some real things and showed me some real things. Like I said, for some of the people that that be infatuated with me, or some of the people that be interested in me, or some of the people that feel as though, well, if I shoot a dice, more people will come at me and more people will watch me and so forth and so forth. Everybody that felt like that, look what they're going through now. Just look what's happening to them on YouTube. Like just think about the people that just purposely wanted to just start something for no reason. And I see the turmoil that God is putting them through their life. And I see the turmoil what God is showing on. But it's sad. Word up. Word up. And that said, but that's when real friends step in and check you on it. It's simple. Instead of talking about a person, if they can't check you, they're not really friends, and vice versa. That's a fact. Because that's a fact, y'all. Annette, she has checked me about certain shit that I had to respect. But you see, when you got to respect for somebody and they coming at you genuinely, you got to respect it. See, it's a difference. Some people just feel as though they can't be told nothing because they caught up in their ways. Yeah, I be angry and I think about certain stuff, but when it comes to logic, that's what rules in my mind. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So you know what I said to myself? If instead of me having to keep going through meet Angie, baby, is in the building. She said, I'm locked. You should get 10 seconds, but you good. You all right. I ain't gonna do nothing to you. Um, when you got people, Angie too, that's a cold-blooded fact. She just popped up, Angie too. Like if it's something that I'm supposed to be checked about or addressed about, the team is gonna definitely tell me. Dog Soldier, FTC Vice, like it's the Sister Seven. It's like if it's certain shit a nigga supposed to be checked on, that's why they in the team. They gonna check me. But see, a lot of people don't want to hear logic. See, logic don't have nothing to do with right and wrong. Logic got something to do with actual fact, actual fact, actual examples, and actual truth. Some people don't care about logic no more. Logic is thrown out the window. They don't care about that. They don't give a fuck about none of that shit. But me personally, that's how I've been raised on logic. And I always want people to treat me, I want to be treated the way I treat people, you know what I'm saying? And then I was always told treat people how you would want somebody to treat your children when they're not around you. Some people just not gonna get along. I understand that. I had to understand that in my life. That ain't had nothing to do with YouTube. I learned this in just in the real world. Because a person that's a friend to everybody is a friend to none. A person is a friend. The person that is a friend to everybody is a friend to none. That's a fact. Angie said we don't always agree, but we always willing to understand what each one is thinking, each other's thinking. That's a fact, and that's what real people do. That's exactly what real people do. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like I said, I'm back to 100% now. I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I even seen somebody one time saying, "Well, I'm trying to get on Dice nerves. I want to put him back in the hospital." See, shit like that let me know that there are really some evil people in this world. I haven't done nothing to nobody for nobody to say, "Yo, I want to put Dice in the hospital. Or I'm glad he's not feeling well, or I'm glad he's sick." Like certain shit like that. But that lets me know it's just a dangerous world. But there's good and then there's evil. You know what I'm saying? I can't knock nobody for what they think, because one thing for sure, two things for certain. Your thoughts are your thoughts, whether they're right or wrong. My thoughts are my thoughts, whether they are right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? I could be 100% right, I could be 100% wrong, but they're still conjured up in my mind, just like somebody else's thoughts. They could be 100% right, they can be 100% wrong. It's all conjured up in their mind. But you know what? I don't care. I don't even care. I just pray and keep it right. The nigga dog said, watch them find themselves in a position they wish for you. That's a fact. That's a fact, dog. But you know what? It actually shows me, how blessed I am. I know that shit may sound crazy. It just shows me how blessed I am. Like I said. Um, there's some people up here, they got some things that they got to deal with God with when they leave. You know what I'm saying? There's some things that people gonna have to sit down and talk to each other about, like why you did that. There's some things people gonna have to take accountability with God what they did. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always say I'm not better than nobody. And then if it's to the fact where it's not a mutual respect or it's not a peaceful environment, I'm always the one to back up. See, that's me. I'll just be like, you know what? We don't agree, we don't like each other. But that don't mean you gotta hate nobody. Word up. It just don't mean you gotta hate nobody. I mean, and I know people may laugh and joke and be like, damn, Dice, but sir, whether a person was trolling me, whether a person had something to say about me, whether a person flipped on me, that shit don't really bother me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a blessing in disguise, y'all. It's only a blessing in disguise. You know what I'm saying? And everybody don't be knowing what they be doing. They don't be knowing what people be going through. They just be trying to get a laugh or a joke. See, some people are so miserable, they just continuously want to laugh. And that's the only way I look at it. And that's the only way. That's why I just keep praying for people, even the people that don't pray for me. Believe it or not, I pray for more people. They wouldn't even believe it, but I pray for them more than they would ever imagine. Like I said, because certain stuff that I go through, I wouldn't wish on nobody. I would not wish that on nobody. It's just not cool. Well, I said I was going to give y'all a quick live. It's a little bit over an hour. I was going to do an hour. About to get me something to eat. Got a little munchies going on. I've been chilling and all that, but I'm going live tomorrow, man. I just wanted to come out and let y'all know that I'm all right and check on some great people. I appreciate everybody. Angie, Dog, Soldier, Net, my man Little Maine. You dig what I'm saying? Who else popped up? My man Chief popped up in the building. So many great people, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate all of y'all for popping up in the building. Little Maine, I appreciate you for dropping up. My nigga Dog Soldier, he in the building, the whole team Guardian, we here. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Drip for stopping through. Shout out to Queen Gigi. Shout out to 050 China Brim. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, my man Chief Red here, everybody that pulled up in the building. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing but a great, great evening. Great conversation. You dig what I'm saying? Y'all know the long slogan. Another day alive, another day free. Like, why would I wake up trying to be somebody other than me, y'all? Peace.